Welcome to Roots of Politics, the channel for political education and political philosophy without ideological gymnastics. Today, we are asking the question, what's politically right and what's left? The terms right and left go back to the French National Assembly, which met from 1789 to 1791. Those sitting to the right of the king were the ones more aligned with him, and across cultures, the right side has often been seen as the better, or preferred side, maybe because most people are right-handed. On the king's right sat the monarchists, those who wanted to preserve the old system. You could call them the conservatives. They believed in the natural inequality of people, which served as justification for the existing class-based society. On the left sat the ones who wanted change, the progressives. At the far end, the Jacobins. Once they gained power, they made excessive use of the guillotine. The left promoted the equality of all people. But since people are obviously unequal, with different talents and abilities, the left claimed that this inequality wasn't natural, but created by society. The further left a group sat, the more radical this claim became. They leaned toward Rousseau, who believed people are naturally good, but corrupted by society. On the right, people were more aligned with Hobbes, who, to simplify, thought humans were naturally bad and needed to hand over power to a sovereign to avoid chaos. That sovereign, by the way, could be a parliament. So what's my take? In short, I believe most people are naturally good, some are less so, and a small minority are truly evil. And the real problem is, that small evil minority often manages to manipulate the good ones by pretending to stand for something good. Left-wing and right-wing ideologies both have their dark sides. Let's start with the right. In its mild form, the idea of natural inequality justified the class system. People were born into a social class and expected to make the best of it. Social mobility existed but was rare. You'll find similar systems in many cultures. Just think of the Indian caste system. In less mild cases, the belief in inequality was used to justify exploitation, even mass murder, of those deemed inferior. We know the history. No need to repeat it here. Now the left. People are obviously unequal. That's just a fact. But according to leftist thinking, this inequality comes not from within, but from society or economic structures. A modern twist says, let's just stop judging traits as good or bad, and voila, everyone's equal. Okay, that's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but you get the point. The radical left, in doing this, attacks one of the core pillars of Western civilization, the individual. Even Karl Marx didn't want that. In his communist utopia, the individual was supposed to flourish, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Nice idea, but things turned out differently. Every time the radical left got into power, its promises turned into their opposite. The Jacobins brought the terror. Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, they carried it further. When the individual no longer matters, when personal traits are dismissed as bourgeois leftovers to be erased, then it also no longer matters whether someone is truly guilty or not. That's how millions were deported, imprisoned, executed, thrown into camps. It's estimated that over 100 million people died in the name of communism, and many more suffered and still suffer under these regimes. The radical left doesn't seem to care. Self-reflection? Not their strong suit. So how do we solve the problem of equality and inequality? The bourgeois answer, which I personally agree with, is formal equality. That means everyone is equal before the law. That's what Article 3 of the German Basic Law says. Formal equality means the state must treat everyone equally. Of course, individuals don't feel that way. We naturally value close friends or family more than strangers. That's just human. But even formal equality has limits in practice. Just look at the migration crisis. The universal claim of equality, even just formal equality, only works when times are good. But giving up on it, as some right-wing thinkers suggest, is also not the solution. My take? The key is to design political systems in such a way that everyone benefits, even from inequality. Here's an example. In Germany, people often resent the wealthy. In the US, it's different. That's why, in the German version of this video, I said, let the rich have their wealth. Just make sure the ones at the bottom don't get left behind. In other words, yes, all people should be formally equal, but for the good of everyone, it's better to allow some degree of inequality. That's a middle ground between left and right.